The Flo Late Models are racing tonight. GR Smith has a new driver. So does the Lane Sprint Car. We'll also talk Super Dirt Week and some more Outlaw versus High Limit stuff. Let's go. It's Thursday, October 6th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is Dirt Tracker Daily. Before we get the shindig started, just a few things from the reaction to yesterday's show. Obviously, we talked a lot about the Outlaws and High Limit. First, I think this is an important point to remember in all of this. Nobody is stopping any sprint car driver from racing anywhere. If you wanted to, you could run the entire Outlaw schedule, the entire High Limit schedule, and any other races you wanted to in between with zero restrictions. Yes, the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series limits their full-timers on extra races, but those drivers sign a contract for extra benefits in return. If they don't sign that piece of paper, they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. I think that's an important distinction to make here. Second, I had several people bring up the 6,000 to win shows the Outlaws used to have. And yes, there were races that paid 6,000 to win, but those shows haven't been on the calendar in 2 years. And I get that a midweek 22,000 win race is more appealing for the bank account than a 10,000 to win show is. There's no question, no disagreement from me here. Down the order, though, the high limit purse that was going to be paid out at Wayne County is almost exactly the same as a standard Outlaw show. So if you look at it, the top 4 or 5 payout spots in a high limit race are better than a standard Outlaw show, no question. But from about 6th on back, it's very, very similar. You're talking some positions is exactly the same. That's something I think you should keep in mind here. Also, I had a few people mention that if the Outlaws are allowed to run the high limit stuff, that it sort of just helps the rich get richer, and that is definitely something to keep in mind here. The Outlaw guys plus Kyle Larson, definitely think you should throw him here in this mix. Those guys are going to take a lot of that money home with them versus it being available to other drivers and teams. So definitely some food for thought there. If concessions are not made between the series and the full-time drivers on the Outlaw side, I do think it's possible we see a few drop off, but I don't believe we'll see a mass exodus. At minimum, an Outlaw team will be guaranteed about $75,000 just in bonus money and the tow money, and then 12th in points is $30,000. So if a team is going to go pick and choose, that's the money they're going to have to make up because that's the guarantees they're getting by signing on to be a platinum member. It's the tow money, the bonus money, and then the season ending points payout. So they're going to have to make up about $100,000 on the low end, but it could potentially be a lot more depending on their status with the series and where they finish in the standings. It's definitely doable to make up that amount of money, and you certainly don't need to run a series full-time to make good money as a sprint car team. But if you go that direction, you've got to win. According to SprintCarRatings.com, only 5 of the top 10 in winnings this season aren't full-timers with the series. They are Brent Marks, Anthony Macri, Danny Dietrich, Kyle Larson, and Gio Scelzi. And really, Marks and Macri are the only two kind of way up on the list. Marks tops the list right now at about $600,000, but as Jeremy Elliott pointed out to me, Marks obviously won a lot of that in just 2 wins at Eldora. And I don't think you can bank on winning, back-to-back crown jewels in a weekend for the future. The guaranteed cash for the Outlaw and All-Star guys would move a lot of them up this list if it was added in. So definitely some things to think about. And obviously, I still don't know either way what I think. I can see both sides of this. Definitely something we're going to pay attention to and be talking about more as this kind of plays out here over the coming months. All right, moving on. The FloRacing Night in America Late Model Series is back tonight at Tri-County Racetrack here in North Carolina. 3 scheduled races remain in 2022, but Michael Rigsby did allude to possibly adding another show before the season is out. After tonight, they've got October 11th at 411 Motor Speedway and then Sonoya Raceway on November 12th. Those are the confirmed races we know for sure, so potentially one more in there. Right now, Brandon Sheppard leads Bobby Pierce and Tyler Erb in the championship standings. Pierce has won 2 in a row with the Flo Series, and we know that after last week, they were down to their last car and last engine. But the smooth operator is expected to race tonight, even with a big weekend coming up at Fairbury. Faust Frenzy is paying $5,000 to win Friday and $15,000 to win Saturday. That one is Mars sanctioned. Sheppard, I think, is in a pretty strong position here to come out on top for this title, but if Pierce can continue his winning ways, it could get tight in the final weeks, especially with one more show potentially in the mix. Besides Pierce and Sheppard, we should also see Jonathan Davenport tonight, as well as Brandon Overton, Ricky Thornton Jr., Mike Marlar, Hudson O'Neill, and others. Tonight's race is again $22,000 to win and $1,000 to start, and the show also includes 602 late models, street stocks, modifieds, and front wheel drives. Grandstands open today at 4 p.m. with hot laps at 6:15. If you're not headed for Brasstown, you can watch this one live on FloRacing. And if you're worried about weather, don't be. It's a beautiful day here in North Carolina. Since we're talking about late models, we started yesterday's show off with the news that Max, Blair, and Viper Motorsports were splitting following World Finals. And late yesterday, we got the news of yet another move in the dirt late model world. J.R. Smith and the Team 22 squad are bringing in Georgia driver Payton Freeman for the 2023 season. Freeman is moving over from his family-owned team that has campaigned both Capital and Rocket chassis this season. After winning the Southern All-Stars title in 2021, Freeman ran the full Summer Nationals this year. He finished second in the points to Bobby Pierce. We've seen Freeman just once this season with Lucas, a 25th place finish at Tri-City in July. Over the past few years, he's also made 10 Outlaw starts. He has a best finish of 11th. He's done that twice, once at Smoky Mountain this year on September 2nd. He also did it again at Boyd's just a few weeks ago. This isn't a surprising move from Freeman. I heard rumors he was kind of in pursuit of some of these other rides that are available. The release says that Freeman and Team 22 will compete full-time with a national touring series next year. So that obviously means either Lucas or the Outlaws, but they won't make an announcement about which one until a future point. The season, just kind of some food for thought here as we kind of try to figure out which direction they're going to go. They had initially campaigned a car for Ashton Winger this year as a rookie with Lucas, but the two sides did part earlier this summer after 30 races together. Winger had 3 top 5s and 13 top 10s in those 30 races. He had a best finish of second at East Bay back in February. If you want some sprint car racing tonight, the Brian Monteith Classic is set for Lincoln Speedway. 410 sprint cars for $7,000 to win, and we should get a pretty nice field tonight. Obviously, you'll have the Central PA regulars out in force, but you can also add Brian Brown, Buddy Kofoid, and Scotty Thiel to the mix, and there might be a few others as well. The Outlaws are at Port Royal this weekend, and the All-Stars are at Fremont, so there are plenty of cars that are going to be not that far away here. As for the Lincoln Track Championship, Freddie Raymer has things well in hand with just 2 races left. Chase Deeds, Dylan Norris, they're not going to catch him for this one. Grandstands open at 5 today with racing at 7. If you can't be there, you can watch this one live over on FloRacing as well. In some sprint car driver news this morning, the Lane Racing 4-car will have a new driver coming up at Fremont for the final All-Star weekend of 2022. The team parted ways with driver Cap Henry before the 4-crown at Eldora, and Cy Lynch drove the car that weekend in Outlaw and in the Outlaw and All-Star shows. Jacob Horde and Ohio Dirt broke the news this morning that Lane is teaming up with Jay Kaiser for the next 2 nights. Driver Chris Andrews will be in the seat, and Jay is going to crew chief. Andrews is a regular participant at Fremont and Attica and has top 5 runs at both tracks this season. He led laps at Fremont with the All-Stars back in June before finishing 6th, and most recently was 10th with the series at Limaland on June 17th. I believe those are both Ohio Sprint Speed Week shows. The All-Star weekend starts tomorrow night. We'll obviously talk about that on tomorrow's show as well. Wednesday up at Super Dirt Week featured the first rounds of practice at Oswego plus racing last night at Brewerton. During the afternoon yesterday, Matt Williamson set fast laps in both the Big Block and 358 Modifieds. Money Matt is the defending Super Dirt Week winner in the Big Block. Zach Sabaka led sportsman practice, and Jay Casey was fastest in Pro Stock hot laps. Both Williamson and Sabaka praised the Oswego dirt surface. That's obviously going to continue to be a topic of conversation all week. Williamson said, quote, really good. Sabaka mentioned that it was smoother than last year. Williamson also said he hopes it stays together all week and that it doesn't take rubber come Sunday. Grandstands open today at Oswego at noon with the first on-track action scheduled for 2 p.m. There are 2 more practice sessions on the schedule today, and then time trials will start for the Pro Stocks and 358s. Later tonight, we'll also get the Past Champions race, Pro Stock heats, and 358 heats. You can watch this one live all day long over on Dirt Vision. And at Brewerton last night for the Hurricane Harvey 75 program, Williamson and Sabaka kept that speed rolling from earlier in the day. Williamson started 11th and caught leader Max McLaughlin inside 10 to go. He then went unchallenged over the final few laps to earn his 28th total win of the season. McLaughlin and Tim Sears Jr. completed the podium. In the sportsman main event, Sabaka went 9th to the lead in 10 laps and drove on to his first victory of the season at Brewerton. So now the satellite events for Super Dirt Week are done, so now all of the focus will be on Oswego through Sunday. We'll continue to talk about this one on tomorrow's show as well. One schedule note for you today: this weekend's Extreme Outlaw Sprint Car shows at Atomic Speedway in Ohio have been canceled. That is happening because of impending freezing temperatures. If you bought tickets in advance, contact the racetrack for details. This first season of non-wing sprint cars under the WRG banner will now conclude on October 28th and 29th at Devil's Bowl Speedway in Texas. Shane Cockrum currently leads Alex Bright and Jake Swanson in the race for the Extreme Outlaw Sprint Car Championship. There are 7 shows on today's slate of streaming events. Like I said, Dirt Vision has Thursday from Super Dirt Week. FloRacing has the Flo Late Models from Tri-County, 410s at Lincoln, and Flo 24/7. Racing Dirt has day 3 of the USRA Nationals. Dirt Track Digest has racing from Mohawk, and there are weekly divisions at I-80 over on Speed Sport. To see the full daily streaming schedule with links to watch, visit dirttracker.com/watch tonight. That's it for the show today. Have a good Thursday. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the show if you don't do so already. That's it for the show today. We'll see you tomorrow for more Dirt Tracker Daily.